all about positioning right there. That's going to be the name of the game for Profit who wants to stake on this point. The sound there to keep the rest of Hunters alive. I love the approach right there to follow with a Death Blossom. That's going to not only control some space, but put out a lot of damage for a monk, especially now that Profit has his duplicate. He's about to get this Diva Bomb right before the duplicate runs out, and Kaneki's outfits told him to sit down, and that is indeed what he's doing in the spawn.
This is the thing, they're actually just building up to another nano. They were taking so much damage at the time, now they're just going to get
and they did it just in time here too. It's going to be Leaf who dives into both of the supports, and this is exactly what they want. Oh, that was so crucial too, because he was aiming at Nisha, and Elsa's gone, and both tanks are gone from that Diva Bomb. It's 2U getting the support from the rest of the team. Seoul Dynasty now taking over the Hunters.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Late night with Doe and ZP has begun. ZP, it's been forever, man. I feel like it has been like weeks, right? Obviously, it's been nearly a month since we've gotten to cast some Overwatch League. We're here in the Summer Showdown. Hero pools are a thing of the past for a little while, at least, which makes me happy. And I'm hyped. I'm hyped to get to cast some matches, and maybe, just maybe, the 3-0 curse for us has been broken. Maybe we can get like some 3-1s, some 3-2s going. Who knows? Anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, anything that's not a 3-0, that's what we're here for. And, you know, we might have a chance of that here today. We look at the matches ahead. We haven't casted the Valiant in the Summer Showdown. We might not cast the Valiant at all in the Summer Showdown, so our odds are going up, Doa. They have never been better.
That's true. And you know what else has never been better? The art that you out there have been submitting to overwatchleague.com/art-gallery. We want to see your best summer-themed stuff this time. So definitely go ahead and do that. It's been really fun seeing what people have been making. I keep saying I'm going to make some art. Maybe this is finally the time. Maybe it's finally the time to get some Doa art in there. I probably can't win anything, but at least it might be fun to submit something, right? Maybe you and I should have a contest. We should submit something. Do like a Twitter vote or something. I don't know.
I already could see, Joe, your art's going to be far better than mine. I don't know. It'd be a stick figure. That's number one. That's because that's all I can draw. And then beyond that, I don't know. I could draw McCree, like, you know, a pistol, sort of.
This needs to happen, by the way. I'm convinced this needs to happen at this point. We're going to make this happen. We're going to do some art for the Summer Showdown. Don't worry about it. But speaking of Showdown, ZP, we've got a match ahead of us that should be interesting. Chengdu Hunters versus Seoul Dynasty. I think this one could be close. Both of these teams have kind of seen their ups and their downs. Chengdu Hunters, though, they started out hot this season, and now they've kind of become a bit lukewarm. They're coming into this one 4-4, whereas I feel like Seoul, if, you know, past history is any indication, like the longer the year goes on, the more the pressure ramps up, their kind of results tend to ramp up a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul, they're always a team that turns up when it's needed most. Usually that's in the playoffs. Regular season is variable. Yeah. But guess what? Chengdu, Doa, also incredibly variable during the regular season. This is a matchup where going in, I don't care what sort of logic you want to apply. I don't think anyone here on Earth has any idea what this is going to be like, because the reality is that you don't know what Seoul is going to show up on any given day, and you don't know what Chengdu is going to show up on any given day. And to top it all off, it's a new meta where we'll see what takes these teams are going to go with. So really, Doa, anything can happen here.
I mean, can you really apply logic at all to the East region? Like, we've just seen like everyone who looks favored lose, and everyone who looks lost is suddenly favored again. Here's Leave on our screen right now. He's been one of the bright spots for the Hunters for sure. Playing the Echo, of course. He's number one in focusing beam kills. He knows how to get those executes, CP.
Yeah, Leave is incredibly talented, and you know, regardless of what variation of a team you've seen him on, one thing that is for sure is that mechanically he's second to none. And when Chengdu gets explosive, a lot of it is off Leave having a really good game. So going into the series here, you go, okay, what are we going to see from Leave here today? And you know, if you're a Chengdu fan, you're going, well, please show us your very best stuff. You know, don't get caught up on, you know, going involved in a meta that, you know, might not be the meta.
That's right. Mystery Man Taro Cookie coming in now as well for the Hunters. We'll see how he does today. Monk looks like his photo was taken when he wasn't quite expecting it. Someone was like, hey, Monk. And he was like, what? And then they just used that photo. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they probably posed a question going like, hey, the photo didn't turn out super well. Do you want to retake the photo? It's like, nah, I know, just take it, whatever. It doesn't matter.
He looks fine. That's like that's material for the grams right there. You can put that in your profile for whatever online dating service you choose to use. Meanwhile, over on the Seoul Dynasty side, I'm excited. ZP, it's obvious. I'm a little bit biased towards Seoul. I lived in Seoul for a long time. I got to watch some of these players come up through Apex back at OGN back in the day, which applies to like 70% of the players in the league right now. But that's besides the point. Seoul Dynasty is the home team of esports to a certain extent, right? So this is a team that's come so close to a championship. It seems like every season they just barely miss the mark. Maybe this one is going to be it. But it's always fun to watch this group play.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, though. Your love has not turned to hate yet, where, Esmond, I love this team so much, but they keep disappointing me. But I love this team so much. You know, it's that
I learned how to handle that from living in Minnesota and watching their sports teams.
Oh, gosh. Why would you do that? Also, entirely true. I have no comeback. Oh.
Yeah. It's true. But this should be a good one. You know, I was trying to do my pick'ems before this. I was having a very hard time deciding. I ended up, you know, obviously going with Seoul. And I went 3-0 because we only cast 3-0 ZP, apparently, this season. Hopefully that's going to be different today. But, you know, until it changes, better safe than sorry with my pick'ems.
Yeah, for me, I went against the overriding reason where I think you're right. We've only casted 3-0s. Well, not only, but it's been a lot of 3-0s. I should have gone with the 3-0. But I went 3-2 for Seoul because I wanted to reflect the variability in this matchup going in, which is, I don't know which team is going to show up, but you know what, it's map 1. We're going to find out real soon.
I feel like it's going to be close either way. Both of these teams are kind of on that trajectory right now. We're getting things started here on Ilios for our control map. And control's always an interesting one to me because we get to see a lot of team fighting. We get to see some good individual performances. But I usually feel like at the end of Control, I still don't have a good idea of which team is kind of favored in the match, right? Because Control can be so chaotic. You can see that Seoul did win a 3-2 after being nearly reverse swept. So these teams have played close in the past, CP. We'll see if that ends up being true today as we get things started here on the Well.
And one thing to notice here as far as metas in the Summer Showdown, Tracer is back, and both Seoul and the Hunters more than willing to put Tracer into the lineup. Fitz and Leave already feel each other out. Right now we're just looking at Taro Cookie. Here, the back on McCree, not really finding too much here, Doa, but both teams still a little bit posturing. But now Seoul looking for the way in. Pressure coming in, and Fitz is already taken down.
Wow, yeah, I mean, Seoul gets a couple. They've traded blows, but it looks like Tuyu is going to be able to get a little bit of a cleanup here. And Seoul just kind of doing a good job of taking that better defensive position early on. They've got a little bit more durable of a team. You've got double bubble going, and I think that really played a big part in it. That it just seemed like the Hunters couldn't get the damage in at the end of the day.
Prophet is really well lit, by the way. Take a look at that. I think it's his monitor just like set up the max brightness, but just, you know, it's just
angelic,
blindingly lit.
Yep. Taro Cookie sneaking on the side, trying to make a name for himself here in the league now. Yeah. And it looks like they'll just
wait.
What?
Okay.
That just
Seoul?
happened? Wait,
yeah, Seoul.
What?
They instead the point, but
did I just?
No.
All right, so Seoul's going to be
taking
taking this back. It looks like they're winning the fight, but I was wondering, did I just like pass out and miss an entire team fight? Like
no.
The Hunters just walked up and took that. What? What is
yeah,
it's
they
late
walked up
night,
and took
man.
it.
Things are getting crazy.
Yeah, and then what we saw there is a repeat of the first team fight where Marvel goes in, sacrifices himself for the greater good, but creates enough of an opportunity that the rest of Seoul is able to go in and clean things up. And, you know, when you're running a McCree comp, though, you're really hoping for the McCree to have huge impact. And so far for Taro Cookie, it's been a pretty muted start thus far.
Yeah. Well, it definitely has. I mean, they've been able to go and get 14 free percentage points, I suppose, but now Seoul's looking like they're going to watch the point a little bit closer here. Marvel gets one in a monk already. Wow, the Zenyatta down again. Welcome back, by the way, Zenyatta, out for a little while, but feeling the fury of Winston already in this match as Zen's off and do. Prophet picks up another kill with the beam there, and Seoul having no trouble at all forcing the Hunters back. Really lackluster team fighting so far for the Hunters in this round.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that Seoul's just been getting great initiations over and over again. It's put the Hunters in a really tough spot. And again, a McCree that's not getting any space and not landing shots is usually going to be a recipe for disaster. Marvel, though, under a little bit of pressure, just going to bounce out of there. Hold on to the Prophet now. Gaga goes in, dropped in the minefield. Graviton can be dropped in response. Primal out for Marvel. Both teams throwing it in. Transcendence in play right now for the Hunters. Marvel going to bounce back over. Board disruption coming in. Low HP somehow got away.
Ooh.
Still.
Wow.
Gonna get healed back up, but While this goes on, Prophet, duplicate in the front line all the while. Soul still at a full 6 right now, does Toyo. Able to take down Elsa on the side. Vettel, though, firing back. 2 down for Soul. Prophet, though, will not go down. Leave, pulse bomb in. Very back and forth. Soul still at the slight edge as Fitz is in on the corners.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing we've seen all round long, right? As it looks like Soul's going to wrap this up, where you get some of the fragile members of Soul going down. The DPS will fall from time to time, but the more tanky members, you know, the members that can hide behind those bubbles, just outlast the Hunters. And you see some laughter on the face of Seoul Dynasty, a little bit of chuckling, as that seemed like a pretty easy round. Just that one weird little instance where they just let Hunters walk in and take it, but overall, that was domination by Seoul Dynasty coming into this one.
Yeah, the Dynasty not touching at that point, still very weird. Like,
That
they
was,
weren't even
that was one of the
pressure.
weirdest things I've ever seen. Yeah, that was one of the all 6 people there, and the other team just walks up and takes it. I can't remember. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that happen before, where there's
That
just
was
no
so
fight
weird.
at all. That was very strange, and it wasn't like a really sneaky thing either. They just walked in. Very bizarre.
Well, you're gonna have some swap ups here. Throwing aside the Cowboy, instead going over to Ash's Taro Cookie. Might have a little bit more impact. We'll see. Dynasty,
Yeah, a little bit
meanwhile.
longer sight lines on this particular point. Makes a bit of sense.
Yeah.
Bob very effective at holding this point as well when you throw him in.
Gaga's
Gaga.
off.
All right.
I don't
Goodbye.
know. We didn't have a viewpoint on there, so we don't know if it was assisted or entirely self-inflicted. The kill feed isn't always representative, but you know,
Yeah.
you lose your Hammond early, mostly for free, Doa. It's not great for winning the team fight, as it turns out. Who knew?
Well, Marvel got the environmental kill on Elsa as well. I mean, Elsa might have already been taking a bit of a dive to regroup with the rest of the team, but yeah, that was bizarre seeing Gaga go out like that. Might have been something like a coach gun or something, but didn't show up in the kill feed if it was.
Yeah,
Just trying
it's
to
a
retake.
mystery. That's
It
why
is.
you gotta go back and look at the replay later in the week. We'll
right.
figure it out, Doa. We can do it together. But now the Hunters,
Put it on my calendar.
the Hunters looking for a way back in. Taro Cookie right now, still struggling to find any shots. As Creative and Tuyu taking them down on the
Fitz.
other side. And there is a bit of a hit scan difference opening up here, among other things, where, you know, maybe it's nerves,
Yeah.
who knows, but it's been a rough debut for Taro Cookie so far.
It sure has, and I mean, the thing is whenever you run into these team game situations, and you can look at this in esports, you can look at this in traditional sports, but there's always kind of the motto of pick on the new guy, right? And they're certainly doing a good job of that this time. Terra obviously going to be feeling the pressure a little bit here too, as now the Hunters try to retake, but they need to get something going here. And
They really
that
do.
helps. Marvel off the edge.
Soul needs to get an equalizer sooner rather than later. Valkyrie's still in progress right now. Barely hanging
Eden.
on is the Diva. And, ooh, yeah, not a bad Eat coming in, but Bonk on the outside takes down Prophet. Doesn't get taken down in turn. Leave right now on cleanup duty, and this should be the Hunters getting a take here, though. They only need a little bit more. Fitz takes on Taro Cookie on the side, but still a very Hunters-sided fight. But it has to be the first team fight of many. 3%. They're going to have to win about 4 in a row. And by the way, Fitz is still here. Fitz is still on top. Finally goes down. But Soul's
Fitz.
being very scrappy right now, Dawn. They commit the Transcendence. They're coming right back in. And why not? Prophet got the pulse bomb kill. Soul says, let's just end
Fitz
this
back
now.
up.
They even get the res on the Fitz. And this is just about over.
I mean, just hero play by Fitz, right? Able to get the kill there. Looks like Hunters are going to be holding on to this one for a little bit long. Elsa getting Fitz at the self-destruct, but, you know, Fitz paving the way, despite getting taken out, for Soul to just get the jump, first of all, on a few members of the Hunters that had to go up on the roof and chase Fitz. They were out of position because of that. And then Soul just kind of gets the numbers advantage as well because of the pick on a Taro Cookie. So just a really nice play by Fitz to just kind of turn an awkward situation into a win. And now 99% impending here for Seoul Dynasty, and they might just 2-0 this map.
Well, Hunters, they're going to try and take things back. Bob comes out early into the fight. Soul able to mostly disengage. Tank front line, though, pretty beaten down. To you, down early. Leave it fish mob. Prophet, though, on the prowl. Doa already 2 for Prophet. And this is who you have to look at now. Tracer is back on the menu. Prophet with another. Unstoppable on the side, making 4.
Wow,
Prophet just rolling through the Hunters. And that should be it.
I mean, the Hunters were able to take it back for now, so the Seoul Dynasty are going to have to take a bit of time for that. But Prophet says, you know what? I think I've played enough on Ilios. I think I'm going to end the map right here, and that's exactly what he does for his team, the Seoul Dynasty. And ZP, you know, I think, did we curse it saying this one was going to be close? I did say at the beginning of this map that I felt like Control wasn't a good litmus test of where two teams are at in a given match, but that said, that was on the extreme end, right? That felt very favored for Seoul from basically start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul looked better, and I mean, a big part here is that, look, Overwatch is a team game, but when we were looking at Taro Cookie on the POV, we didn't see him hitting a whole lot of shots on top of the pressure being pretty overwhelming coming in from Seoul. So clearly Chengdu needs to change things up. Luckily for Chengdu, they are a team that is willing to make substitutions on the fly and, you know, swap things up, change who's playing what. So, you know, it's just map one, Doa. Still a decent amount of series left to go. But right now, if you're a Seoul fan looking at this, you're going, man, sure glad Tracer's back in, and I'm glad the Prophet's playing it because he looked pretty good.
A single map, but a dominating map for Seoul Dynasty. We'll see if they can keep up the momentum or if the Chengdu Hunters can strike back when we come back in just a few here on the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, Overwatch League fans. Doa and ZP here with you for some late night East Region Overwatch action. And all the action was pretty much on the Seoul Dynasty side that last map, wasn't it, ZP?
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, look, Prophet being good on Tracer, it's a tale as old as time, or at the very least, Noah, as old as the Overwatch League and some of the tournaments preceding it, like Apex. But look, I mean, between the two teams, Seoul looked more aggressive. Their players were mechanically more on point, and the Hunters, to a degree, they looked lost. They weren't on the same page. And on top of it all, you have a debut here for Taro Cookie, and it's been a rough one. And if you're not, if you're going to play a hero like McCree or a hero like Ash, and you're not going to have a big impact landing key shots in the windows that you have, your team's going to have a rough time, and that certainly did not help the Hunters one bit. But, you know, Doa, it is just control, and sometimes things do change pretty radically when you get into the other map types. So, you know, now we'll see if the Hunters can bounce back, or, you know, if it's our curse playing its hand again with a potential 3-0 on the horizon.
I don't want to, you know, bear any responsibility, but it has become a growing trend over our matches over the course of the season. So we'll see. You know, the thing that stood out with me for that match was obviously a lot of good mechanical plays from Seoul, like you were saying, but just like allowing the Hunters to take the point at the beginning of that first one, uncharacteristic misstep for an Overwatch League caliber team. We don't see that very often, where another team is able to just walk onto the point and take it without any shots fired even, really. So I think Seoul Dynasty in the next round specifically looked even tighter than they did on that first one. I think that was a little bit of a wake-up call, shaking off the rust a little bit. It's like, okay, yeah, we got to get our heads back in tournament mode. It's time to play seriously again, and you know, we'll see what happens in the next map here. But I'm kind of waiting to see if there's going to be any changes. I'm looking. It doesn't look like there's any changes on the side for the Chengdu Hunters. As you can see, they're keeping in Taro Cookie. So, you know, again, like, we don't want to be too hard on Taro Cookie. It is his first time out. There is a lot of pressure. You are going up against players like Prophet right now, and Fitz, who has really impressed me this season in terms of being a deadly DPS player. So it's rough. You know, it's rough if you're Taro Cookie. You might be a great player in the ladder. You might be a great player in some of the other leagues, but this is the Overwatch League, you know, and that first map is kind of one of those welcome to the Overwatch League moments, you know?
Nothing personnel, kid. And yeah, I mean, the one thing about the Dynasty, when you look at this as a team, is that it is a team just chock full of veteran talent. I mean, people that you know, have been in the league for years and years, and Prophet, of course, foremost among them. Not a player known for really having bad games for the most part. They do happen from time to time, but you know, usually a very consistent player. And True. Now we take a look at the Hunters and what they'll be doing here in the defense, though, as, you know, again, it is a new meta. All heroes are available. Team's still experimenting. And for the Hunter side, it's going to be a double shield with Torb and McCree. So we'll see how this one pans out.
Well, I like that we're getting to see the Hunters on defense actually coming into this map, because I love to think about the player mentality side of things. And where you just kind of got steamrolled in the first map, now you have to go on defense in the second map. It really is a test of mentality, because they're going to be able to come at you again, right? So here's where you have to sort of dig deep. Here's where you have to sort of, you know, play a solid game and get yourself mentally back into it as well. You've had a break. You've had time to regroup. Seoul Dynasty, though, they do a bit of scouting. They are making some changes, and look at this. May McCree coming out this time around. All right, so back to a little bit of what we saw a lot of in the first stage of Overwatch League this year.
Yeah, and I don't think Seoul's going to be too subtle here. They're just simply going to go up, take the high ground, find a way to rush in to the Hunters and use a wall to seal the deal. And you know, this is something for the Hunters, where the Hunters do have to do some damage to Seoul before they get on top of them. And you know, the window to do that's going to be pretty short. Dynasty, though,
in a very dangerous place. The Volto's in a very dangerous place. Oh, Gaga, rather.
So is Gaga.
Gaga was in a very dangerous place.
Gaga.
All right. All right,
well, that's what I was saying to begin with. They were looking through the isolation. They dropped the wall, rushed down one target, and immediately the Dynasty easily take point A. And again, it wasn't even close. The Hunters look completely out of sorts.
I don't recall that being a common place for an Orisa to be standing on this defense. I am concerned about looking at that, I was concerned that they'd be able to get enough healing on him, even with the shield there. It's not a very high HP shield for the Orisa. And as you can see, he kind of just got wrecked. Oh, Leave manages to pick off creative, though. That's going to slow things down a little bit for Seoul.
Honestly, when in doubt, throw Leave on Hangzhou. It's been surprisingly good for the Hunters this season because Leave's Hangzhou is just sneaky good. Gaga, meanwhile, getting the D-Mech off to the side, so Dynasty at the very least going to get slowed down a bit by this double sniper swap. Now the swap double sniper, I am curious to see for the Dynasty, do they change anything up on their own? The one downside, of course, being, hey, their ultimates are in a pretty good spot now. They swap, they lose it, and for now, it looks like the Dynasty, they're going to stay the course.
Yeah. I think so. I think you can kind of just stick with this. We have Prophet over on the Tracer as well, so he can start to make some plays now that he's got a little bit of room to flank here on the second point. Taking the elevator up, everybody's going the high ground. They're going to drop the Batiste wall as well. Fitz, we wanted to have that up on the top, but he got knocked off. That didn't work out for Seoul.
No, and Leave got chased down. They got rid of the threat. And now, for Taro Cookie, it's do or die here in the Widowmaker. Can the Hunters leverage a hit scan, bring things back a bit? Now, while the Dynasty are going up on the top here, Doa, no one's pushing the payload. Okay, finally they put someone over to it, but the Hunters haven't lost too much in payload progress during this, but they have lost a lot of their defensive positioning as the Dynasty have taken up residence on the high ground.
Dude, if Marvel doesn't 360 Earth Shatter off the top of the building, I'm going to be so disappointed. This is the perfect opportunity for 360 Shatter. Oh,
he dropped the
maybe
shatter.
Not. Well, he did get Elsa, I guess. All right, he did shatter. He did get Elsa. Prophet finds Taro Cookie.
The mines are huge!
Oh, but Gaga comes back. Massive win for the Hunters. They needed that.
He just rolls in and drops the mines Duppa. His own disruption and fall through. And the Dynasty just get caught in the middle of Hollywood. And what a good reset, because guess what? All those gestures that they had to do to get onto top, no pun intended there, for the Dynasty, they have to do it again if they want to take the high ground. Now, and that's why they're partially swapping here, right? They're playing Marvel over to Winston, so they can just go up immediately with Winston Diva and make things a little bit quicker. And Monk gets caught immediately by Fitz.
Yep. Fitz definitely known for his Sombra. Marvel finds Leave, so they're starting to find ways to pick apart this fragile comp for the Hunters right now. Animo even gets a support 1v1, so Portal Combat going the way of Lucio there. And it looks like Seoul Dynasty comes back with a vengeance. Clean team fight win, and they're going to get a lot of progress towards the end of B here.
Yep, and also seeing swapping. The double sniper is gone. Tracer McCree back over and in. Both teams swapping a lot in this matchup, looking for an edge. And by the way, Moira's back. We thought she wouldn't be here, but she's back in, and that means Cole could be coming soon. Monk, though, can drop the Transcendence early here for the Hunters Dynasty. They try and back out. No! Animo gets caught just a second before beat.
But what? They got the point.
They don't touch the point!
Hunters, please.
I gotta tell you, point presence is at an all-time low today between both teams.
It really is. This is a bit of a We're in the comedic circus entertainer party mode tonight. That's for sure. We'll put it that way. Seoul Dynasty gets another one. Another team fight win as they start to push into C here with about 3 minutes remaining. So not a ton of time, but enough. With the way things have been going, it's enough. But how backbreaking mentally does it have to be for Hunters to win that team fight and then lose the point anyway? I can't believe it. Like you said, point control definitely at an all-time low in this series so far.
Yeah, the sad thing about that too is that it's not just a mental breaker there. It's also potentially a map breaker where if the Hunters had just held on to the point there, they had a really good shot at the second point hold. But now, Seoul, they're set up, they're good to go. Fitz holding on to EMP, drops it, his fault, they're going to be there. Prophet gets the back, again finding Monk, who has the world's least enjoyable job right now as the Dynasty continue to be all in. However, Hunters fighting back to a degree here, able to push things back. The payload gets good progress, but the Hunters will stop any form of momentum.
Yeah, I think the main concern is a lot of what you were saying earlier, ZP, where now that this payload is deep into point C, that puts a lot of pressure onto the Hunters, too, that when it does finally flip to their round, even if Seoul Dynasty doesn't complete it, getting it this far in Hollywood oftentimes is map winning, right? We'll see, though. Prophet going hunting, trying to find Leave. Fitz with the same thought process.
You just look at Mug just checking side to side here, going, Prophet's out there. I know he's out there. He's coming for me. Gaga, meanwhile, a little bit of high ground control. Now mines are up. Oh,
Cowboys
that was such a nice engage.
Like that.
Elsa piercing the way of the Yveltal
Yeah.
and immediately shutting down the Dynasty, giving them a taste of their own medicine, Doa. Minute 15 left, and the Hunters, bit of a rebound.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. We see these one-sided fights from the Hunters, but honestly, this has been a strange map because a lot of the fights have just been one-sided, right? Prophet gets another couple of meters. Oh, man, you got to watch out for that if you're the Hunters. Like, every meter is so important right here, but yeah, the fight's been weird. A lot of one-sided stuff. Marvel gets himself caught, jumps into a place he can't escape from, and now Soul has to back away. They need to wait for Marvel to come back up and get a strong, full six-person push here on the payload. They're poking, but they really can't afford to lose anybody right now.
Yeah, I mean,
40
they
remain.
would commit on something if it came out with Gaga being down, but you're right. You take a look at how Soul's playing. They're mostly just keeping presence on the payload. They're waiting for Marvel to be back in. He is back in, and now they're going to head back in. But Gaga sang the tone.
Huge.
Oh, the stick!
Oh!
Prophet got on the
Wow.
Taro Cookie on the side. And that's all Gaga, though, just able to rush forward. This Brigida is a real problem for the Dynasty right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that was just another great setup into the pulse bomb from Leave. It didn't get a lot of kills right initially, but it did enough damage that it was easy cleanup for the rest of the team. And now Seoul Dynasty, unless you're going to find some sneaky way to do this again, I think this is where the payload stops.
Well, they are going to get in contest.
Well, one more time. They got back fast.
They don't have the ultimates to back this up. This is where they hope that the Hunters make some form of mistake. Also hanging back, self-destruct. Right down Broad Street, Deadeye in progress, and this is just zoning them off the payload right now. Taro Cookie blinding to you.
Wow,
and that should be
Taro
enough,
Cookie.
Doa.
I mean, Taro Cookie finds the play he's been looking for all series long, right? That is a map-winning play. Welcome to the Overwatch League again from Taro Cookie, this time in a positive way, and they do stop the payload. You know, I think you're still going to be a little bit disappointed if you're the Hunters because you wanted to get that stop on point B. You got a little bit tricked there by the Seoul Dynasty, able to ninja push it through, but, you know, at least you stopped him from getting 3. You know, you've got a chance to end it without having to push the payload all the way.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something here where, you know, it's very winnable for the Hunters, but, you know, if we go to the idea of what is the worst possible scenario, not to, like, bring it into existence. Oh, you gotta love it. I like to play more in the tavern, though, back in the middle of Hollywood, where that was just a pure, just solo almost play by Gaga, where he rolled in, dropped the mines, and was a lot of his fall through and the pushing people into the mines. But still a really good initiation there. But to the other point I was making, though, is that, you know, for the Hunters, at least get point A here. Don't get full held, because that is the one way to just spoil any good defense, is to fall victim to another team's far better defense.
Yeah, and, you know, if that happens, that kind of breaks that, you know, mental momentum that was built up by getting the hold in the very last round, right? So we'll see what happens. Fitz and Prophet on Sombra and McCree, respectively. So Fitz going to take an early scout, checking things out a little bit here. Leave over on the Doomfist. We know he's got a strong Doomfist. We've seen it before. Will they be able to take point A here?
We'll have to see.
Maybe the swap.
Yeah. They didn't like what they saw, so it's going to be a
Yeah, I don't think I'd
change-up.
like seeing a Sombra either if I'm a Doomfist.
Yeah, it's not great. Especially in the fact that I think right now, if you're the Dynasty, you overly focus on Leave because Leave's the one making the opportunities for the Hunters right now. You kind of go to Taro Cookie and go, all right, prove you can land your shots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Taro Cookie is still, I don't want to say ignorable, but Leave is certainly the bigger threat at the moment. Yveltal down early. Fitz finds a pick in the back line. That is exactly what you don't want to have happen because Monk, the Zenyatta, is going to be very vulnerable as well. And this is really kind of the strength of the Seoul Dynasty defense, is that you make picks like that. If Fitz can continue to put the pressure on the backlines with Sombra, Hunters are going to have a very difficult time actually putting together a strong push on the point at all. And this just eats up a lot of time, which is what Seoul wants.
Yeah. When Yveltal's out of the fight, that's the Monk saying, I'm in danger, Doa, is what's going on there. And even when
he's in
still in the fight, still in danger between Fitz and Prophet. Resurrection, though, comes into play. Hunters, though, struggling to get the entry. Leave soon have Pulse Bomb, though, moving in. Diva, the target. Oh, take it down. Bit off more than you can chew.
Wow. Tanks down.
And that's going to delay things even more, Doa.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. And Fitz, again, has just been the scourge in the back line. He's claimed kills on both Monk and Yveltal independently right now. They do hit him as he comes out of security, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful. But he's got the EMP as well. Okay, leave over on the Echo. So time for a different angle. Trying to go airborne here a little bit.
Yeah, the problem is they have to go through an EMP and they only have 2 minutes left. So one fight is almost certainly going to be a loss. And the problem is they have to use the EMP now. You get the free pick and leave. Okay, they use it anyways. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
and Marvel just going to walk in.
Monk?
All right.
Monk dropped the Transcendence and they're down 2 already. That is incredibly questionable, Doa, and absolutely does not work.
Oh, Taro Cookie turned into Taro T there. He got liquefied by that charge from Marvel, and Seoul Dynasty are going to put the Hunters at under 2 minutes on the clock right now. And you know what, ZP? They were very efficient about their ult usage there. They knew they had a great EMP. Marvel walked in, knew he could get some good hammer damage, and saw an opportunity for a free Earth Shatter as well. That even drew out the Transcendence from Monk, which weakens the next push of the Hunters even more. So you really can't ask for anything more from the defense for Seoul. They just got to close it out, see if they can.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say there is Monk should have held the Transcendence. He would have had an edge here, but now Monk in
100%.
danger. No Q the press. And the Dynasty forcing the Hunters back again. Marvel able to find Yveltal, but Gaga to the back. Both supports for the Dynasty are down, Doa. There's no more healing coming in, and the Hunters should be able to get point A off this. Sheer force of will keeping the Hunters in this, despite what was a really rough opening to the team fight.
Yeah, I think Leave and Yveltal did a really good job of turning the defense around a little bit, getting the Reinhardt to be looking the wrong direction, and just opening up a lot of damage onto the back line of Seoul Dynasty. So good execution in the end. The swap onto the Echo, giving Mercy a safer place to operate from, you know, being up in the skies with Echo really did the trick.
Yeah, and it's one of those swaps where you're going, well, you might not build the duplicate in time, and hey, they didn't need it, still made it work. However, a lot of time burned off the clock. Seoul setting up for the next fight. EMP good to go. Monk, the target in the back, and Monk still alive. But the rest of his team perhaps not living. The EMP was still good despite the attempted Zen assassination. And the Dynasty backing up at the right time, though, and not overextending. Good self-control from the Dynasty, and the Hunters, they're going to try to turn the tables. They drop the bomb to the back, and instead, it's the bomb from the Dynasty connecting, taking out the Mercy, and the Dynasty, really nice positional player. And why? Why is the Transcendence going off there, Doa? I don't understand.
You've already lost some Mercy. Taro Cookie is down. That Transcendence helps nobody. You're going to lose the fight anyway at this point. It's rough to see. It's desperation.
Well,
a nice
except
pin.
Leave.
Ooh, Leave, though. Swaps over, takes the Ryan to town, gets a double kill with the charge. And now, with a focusing beam kill, Leave is just putting this team on his back and carrying them.
None of that should happen for Leave. That was just a pure hero play coming out in a fight that should have been lost. But the duplicate comes out from Leave, somehow gets 2 off the Ryan clone. And yeah, keeps the Hunters in the fight, Transcendence or no.
It's really been Leave both on point A and in point B now, making the big hero plays here. The swap to the Echo, certainly working out pretty well. And you know, when everyone else is kind of struggling a little bit, Leave has really been the one to keep the Hunters in this. Monk is down again, though. I mean, they're not making it easy on him, are they?
I feel bad for Monk. This is just mission impossible right now. The #1 target the Dynasty are going after. Very hard to protect. Now the Dynasty with the early pickoff, well, the Resurrection comes in. They can't play this entirely too crazy and diving in. They're waiting to heal up, and Gaga again. Oh, it's a Tavern once more, but this time, Doa, no mines to drop along with it, and Seoul isn't all stacked up. But now Shatter comes in, and all right.
There we go.
Oh, but when you just
Leave again.
Yeah, it's not the greatest Shatter in the world, but Fitz is still alive on the corner. It's going to be up to Fitz and Prop to try to turn this, and Fitz just gets run over by Leave in the duplicate.
Yeah. All right, well, Leave again. Getting a couple kills, getting exactly what he needs to put his team across the finish line. Marvel can't hang on the point right now. Certainly, Animo is not going to be able to do a whole lot to stop this. Buying a couple seconds, but that's about it. Soul's going to drop again, and that is going to be a point B for the Hunters. Eventually. They'll get it now, but not much time, ZP.
No, not much time at all. The Hunters are not out of the woods here yet, but Leave is doing everything possible. Someone's going to have to look at his back at the end of this game, Doa, because his performance has been magnificent so far against the overall portrait that has not been great for the Hunters.
He leaves like going Incredible Hulk right now, man. His muscles are huge. Well, Fitz gets 2 anyway. And with so little time on the time bank, like the Hunters can't afford to have teamfight losses like this.
No, not at
They need
all.
to make some
And
progress.
I mean, if he's been Hulk for the most part, he just got caught out as Bruce Banner. Deadeye, right place, right time. And now, potentially 1, maybe 2 fights if it's quick left for the Dynasty. And the Hunters, they look to Monk here to have a good Transcend to set the tone.
Yep. Leaves hulking out, but Prophet sneaks up and he's like, the sun's getting real low, big guy. Hunters with one more chance here. They have like maybe 1, maybe 2 fights if they're lucky here, but Fitz down. Good start. Taro Cookie gets a big one.
Fitz was way over aggro there too. Monk dropped Transcendence. Transcendence now faded. Valkyrie in progress. Soul still fighting with 5. Onimo super low. Somehow able to stay alive. Here comes Prophet to the back. Gets the stick. Takes down Monk. But it comes at a cost, which is himself as Monk rezzed back up. And all the while, the Hunters still have spawn advantage, so the Dynasty need to back out and reset for what will be the final fight.
Yeah, that ended up being a bit of an awkward push for the Seoul Dynasty as the car rounds the bend, the payload getting closer to the golden box of victory here. Seoul Dynasty need to get back in a hurry. Leave has a pulse bomb.
He might just walk up and shatter here. Waiting, waiting, they have to touch point. Point presence in the series. Pulse bombs it back from Leave. Does it connect? No! Fitz though, able to take down Leave on the side. McCree setting the tone. Leave cannot be the hero this time, Doa. And the Hunters in real danger. They get down Marvel, but still down 1. Tank line for the Dynasty no longer there. Again, it comes down to Fitz and Prophet. They have to stay the payload.
Do it.
They have to stay there. What? They have to stay on it. Elsa, super low. Gotta get teambacked.
To go.
It's so close between both teams. Frontline though coming back in now for the Dynasty. Monk Transcendence just in the nick of time. Keeping the Hunters healthy on the point. Fitz is down. And Prophet's out of it. But drops the bomb from the grave. Takes down both support staff. Still winnable for the Dynasty. The beat comes in Fonimo and they just about have it. Prophet does not go down without a parting gift.
Oh, that self-destruct is going to seal the deal. I think, no, wait, Leave stays on the payload just for the nick of time. Called on Mekra to you, doesn't find anybody with it. That overtime bar has been there for longer than a lot of things right now. So you can see Veltal Leave with another one. I can't believe it. I'm seeing ZP. This is one of the closest final fights I've ever seen.
Both teams fighting tooth and nail. The mines come out. Someone for the Dynasty. Still assistant payload. Gaga though pays for his life. Taro Cookie coming in as he's positioning. Here's the Ash looking for the Hammond. Needs one more shot. Can't find it just yet. Dynasty still on the point. Elsa goes down. Both teams fighting tooth and nail. Prophet to the back by Taro Cookie. Marvel fighting back. Fitz on 76. Is this the final play? Throwing them back. Gaga still on the point, and the Hunters, they haven't got a kill in a while here, Doa. The Dynasty have just about sealed this one shut.
Wow, creative even swapping the Moira and getting a whole outbuilt during one fight, and Seoul Dynasty wins that. My mind is blown, ZP.
Yeah, that was all over the place, Doa, in all the best of ways. But I think the best part of that team fight to me was that you had the 2 early pickoffs come in. Prophet goes down and go, oh, Prophet's gone, it's over. Pulse bomb from the grave takes down 2 and lets the Dynasty stay in the fight long enough for respawns. What a cool sequence that we saw from both teams there.
That was one of the most intense fights I've ever seen at the end of a map of Overwatch. It went the way of Seoul Dynasty, though. They're one map away from a 3-0. We'll see if they can do it. Chengdu, though, putting up a fight. We'll see if that can result in a map win when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
ZP, this series is insane. That last game had one of the closest, wildest, craziest endings I've ever seen on a game of Hollywood. Like, it looked like it was going to be Chengdu. It looked like it was going to be Seoul. It looked like it was going to be both of them, like back and forth 10 times. It was Profit versus Leave having their enormous 1v1, like trying to just like drag their teams behind them. And eventually Seoul was able to close it out. They've got the 2-0 lead in the series, but I now the question is for Hunters. You probably make some swaps, right? You bring some new people in, you kind of refresh a little bit that way, but Seoul just kind of seems to have their number today, don't they?
Yeah, Seoul looks very good, but also on the same note, I mean, the Hunters should have had Hollywood. You look back at, we'll go back and go, wow, that final fight was crazy. It's going to be in the highlights for a while going, what a crazy fight. It didn't need to happen at all. All the Hunters had to do was stay on the point, back on point B, and they probably have the point B hold, or at the very least limit the point C progress to where their offense would have been enough. So, if you're a Hunters fan looking at that, you're going, yeah, the final fight is great and all, but it shouldn't have happened. We should have just won. And that's the type of thing that haunts you as a team when you look back at a series going, how did we let this happen? Because it really did come back to harm the Hunters, and it's why they're down 0-2 instead of the series now being 1-1.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't been the cleanest series of Overwatch that we've ever seen. That is definitely a given. I mean, letting that payload get through point B kind of free for Seoul Dynasty is what ended up kind of making the difference in the end. So if anything else, the Hunters, I think, are going to be, and to Seoul too, to a lesser extent, are going to just be looking to play, I think, a clean game as we go into map number 3. You just want to close one out where things don't get a little bit silly, right? You're able to kind of like stick to the fundamentals of staying on the payload, that kind of stuff, and hopefully at least, even if you do lose, you lose cleanly, right? We do see some subs coming in. We saw that Nisha was coming in for Yveltal. You and I were talking about this during the break, though, that if you have to look at the two different supports on the Chengdu Hunters, I got to kind of call out Monk. His transcendences seemed pretty ill-timed throughout that last map, didn't they?
Yeah, they were. I mean, straight up, look at all of Leave's heroics, put it to the side. The Hunters were winning fights in spite of Monk, not because of Monk, with a lot of what was going down. Because you would just see Transcendence get thrown at points where it's like, we're down 2 people, we have no discernible edge. Transcendence. And some of the times it worked out because Leave, for example, in the middle of Hollywood, had a duplicate and came in from the back. But, that play was very likely possible without the Transcendence to begin with. And even regardless of it working out, it's not fundamentally sound Overwatch to, throw a Transcendence into a fight where you're already down 2 people in most circumstances. So, there was a lot of that going on. It wasn't great Overwatch. The only thing I'll say in Monk's defense is that Monk was under immense pressure. Fitz and Profit were stalking him. They were at his garbage looking for any form of edge they could get on him, and it was a tough time to be Monk in that last map, there's no doubt, but all in all, still not the best look.
I mean, as a Zen one-trick myself, you do, feel that pressure a lot. Where when you've been picked off a number of times, you're like, all right, well, maybe if I just Transcendence here, my team will go forward, we can get a pick during the middle of it, and then I'll be safe enough out the other side to, continue the momentum. But when you're using it in a situation where, a couple of people are down, there's not really any impending damage from ultimates, your tanks aren't really like low health or anything like that, there's no one really to save at that point, that's like the last time you want to use a Transcendence because your team's not going to be going in, and you're not going to get any healing value out of it. So, saving yourself probably isn't worth it. It's better to just kind of like wipe it and go next, right? So, I do think we need a little bit more poise out of Monk in this last map, if it is the last map. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, ZP, but it's kind of looking that way as we go to Watch Point Gibraltar. See if Seoul Dynasty can close it out. Jimmy is in as well. For Taro Cookie, he is out. Rough couple of maps to start off. I think there were a couple good moments for Taro Cookie, but it's tough. Your first match is usually a rough one.
Yeah, I mean, I think between the two players, from what we've seen so far, Jimmy should be the far more consistent player. I mean, whether it be opening nerves or not. I mean, Taro Cookie wasn't performing at top level, but look, we've seen players have a rough beginning and come back in later matches and do better.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
For today's game, in terms of who has it and who doesn't, putting in Jimmy is probably a smart move here for the Hunters. So I think
agree.
It's at least a good step towards turning the series around, but reverse sweeping, it's hard to do, Doa. It does happen every now and then in Overwatch. The Hunters, have pulled it off more than some of the other teams in the league, but we'll see if today is going to be one of those days.
Well, you just saw the lower third fly on the screen there, and reminding us that the last 2 times these teams have met, it has gone to game number 5. And the last time it did go to game number 5 after Seoul Dynasty was up 2-0 in the series. So there is precedent for this one to keep going here. And losing Marvel early would certainly be a good start for the Hunters. They're chasing him down. They're going to get him eventually, right?
Wait, he
gets
got
to
the
the health
mega.
pack. He can't get out,
He got the
right?
bubble?
Oh
No.
my gosh, I was going to say, yeah, if he gets out of this, that's insane, right? They do lose leave and all of that as well. But the payload is moving.
It comes at a bit of a cost for the Hunters, but the problem is losing Marvel that early. This is still progress that the Dynasty are probably going to give up anyways, and they're certainly not going to go super deep contesting without Marvel, even with the trade. So they're content to just wait for Marvel to come back.
Well, what you're going to want to do as a Winston early on in a map like this is just build out charge, really. That's the goal. You dive in, you get a little bit of ult charge, you dive out. He did not get to dive out, only ended up getting about 30%, so a little bit behind where you want that primal to be in a lot of cases, but still a chance to build it up. You can see it again, just kind of poking. Ooh, they do go in as well. They try to pinch one of the supports, but don't quite get the kill.
Meanwhile, Jimmy's still in the Widow, still looking for targets. Elsa on the Zarya, laying it over the top. Hunters not really full committing here. They can't really full commit though. They have to wait for Widow to make an opportunity, or at the very least Gaga to get a Primal. Marvel though, under pressure, builds up the Primal, closes the gap, but immediately gets slept, but also immediately woken up. Bionates with that creative in danger. Prophet gets caught by Jimmy! A big shot from Jimmy. Puts Prophet in the ground, and the Hunters just about there.
Yeah, they're doing it. And I mean, this is what they were missing before, right? Where Taro Cookie was not hitting those clutch shots that they needed to. You know, Jimmy hits one right away, right? There goes Marvel, another. Oh my gosh, Jimmy. Jimmy eats world right now, apparently.
Yeah, all due respect to Mr. Cookie, but Jimmy is already having a far greater impact on the game. The Hunters look renewed, and I mean, a big part of that is that Prophet got stopped before he could even begin, and yeah, he got 2 now, but this is not the time to get 2 kills. It's good, but would have been better before the Hunters got the point.
I mean, this is just night and day difference for the Hunters right now. I mean, they were able to just roll through A with no problem. Suddenly, Prophet wasn't really much of a factor there on the defense. And so Seoul Dynasty is going to have to rethink a little bit here. All right, we have the ult being used by 2U. They do get a couple kills out of the ensuing fight, so Seoul Dynasty maybe starting to stabilize a little bit here. And they need it.
Yeah, I think that was a good use of Grav too. I mean, it got them the fight. It took down the front line immediately. And for Watchpoint Gibraltar, momentum being such a big deal, as a defense, being able to set up here and get the initiation from above is really, really big. So, good use of ults by the Dynasty to regain control.
Well, Bob is ready to jump on the scene. Prophet has the Pulse Bomb. Marvel's got another Primal Rage soon. Good amount of tools coming in for Seoul Dynasty to try to hold this. That said, looks like the Hunters do have a couple things to work with as well. They've got their own Primal Rage. They've got their own Graviton, and they are... Ooh, Monk getting chased down here. Creative, the one to fall first. Leave does find him. There's a stick from Prophet, though. Trying to turn it around. Doesn't get a kill.
Yeah, the bubble was ready. And the Hunters still in firm control, all 6-11 as I say that. Marvel and Animo from the back. Gaga, Jimmy had the fight. And now more in contest for the Dynasty, but they still have a bit to go to. However, while this is going on, the payload is not moving. Animo, though, taken down, and the Dynasty losing their ability to contest.
Yeah, the payload moving now, and I think the Hunters are getting into a really comfortable rhythm here where they can, depart from the payload, win the fight, go back, push it for a little while. Definitely looking a lot better here on Gibraltar. Leave's got to be careful. Oh, anti-heal. Leave. I don't know if he wanted to grab the Ana there. Gets stunned. Gonna get taken out. Back over to the Echo form now. Not the most successful duplicate we've seen.
Whether he did or he didn't. Oh, no. This is a cheat code, Doa.
Here we go.
You can't do that. You can't give Prophet's nano boost. That's absolutely hacking.
When he's in a position like that, you absolutely can, CP. And he puts it to good use. I mean, you got to love it. Like, Prophet, you know, not making a ton of plays so far in the map, but when the moment comes down to it, they know that he's in the position to do what Prophet does, and they've got that defensive stability again. Had to use a lot to get it, but they do have the tools to continue holding it.
All right, so the Hunters find themselves a bit stalled here on point B, and Leave just assassinated Prophet. The flank, Doa catches him unaware, and already a big edge for the Dynasty. The Hunters They're just going to back out, and Gaga gets staggered.
All right.
This is burning a lot of valuable time.
Tons of time, especially dangerous on a map like Gibraltar 2, where point C is so difficult to take a lot of times. Yeah, leave. He's stealth, so he's not going to be pushing that payload at the moment.
It's all about the EMP now, and this is not the easiest map to get a great EMP on. Gibraltar, it can be challenging for Summer, but the hack comes in the Prophet. You want to get the finish here.
Big.
Leave follows through the 1-2 between Leave and Jimmy.
Ooh. Wow.
EMP dropped over the top. Elsa, though, gets caught by Fitz, as you saw. Fitz will not be stopped, does not care, EMP or no. And that is enough to stabilize Seoul. The EMP is off the table, and I think Jimmy's going to swap here, one would think. And yeah, there he goes.
I would think so too, yeah. That was beautiful from Fitz, though. Doing some cowboy parkour, coming down on high, landing the flashbang, immediate headshot. Really impressive McCree play here. Ooh. Oh, Jimmy.
Yep, that's
you
what you
can't
needed.
peek on Jimmy like that.
They brought Jimmy in for profit control is what we're seeing, but is that going to be enough?
Yeah, Fitz is on
Not
Jimmy control, though.
Yeah, exactly. And the Dynasty just about there. Only 20 seconds remaining, though. Marvel with Primal making plenty of space and then some on a support hunting mission. Going Zenyatta juggling. And that you'd think would be it.
This round is over. I mean, you can try to make it back to the payload. Maybe you can touch, but I don't know if you're going to get a great team fight here. Can anyone even make it? No, they can't. Yeah, Marvel sealing the deal there. Profit does fall, but now you get to see the depth of the individual playmaking on Seoul Dynasty. Fitz able to set up that finishing blow for Marvel with the Primal Rage, and Seoul Dynasty gets a really good stop here on point B.
Yeah, the Dynasty stepped up to the challenge. Even with the extra contribution from Jimmy, it wasn't enough. Because as it turns out for the Dynasty, as good as Profit is, the rest of the team is also really, really good, Doa. So they don't need Profit alive at all times to make plays. And Marvel's certainly stepping up there at the end.
You know, I will say, up to a certain point, the Hunters looked better, but it almost seemed like that early success was just because it took Seoul a little bit to sort of like download them, right? They had to take a few minutes to be like, okay, well, we have to approach this differently now. Different DPS player. This damage player is hitting shots, doing a lot better. And then Seoul on point B was like, all right, download complete. And that was it.
I think it's part that, and also, though, I'm not sure, relative to single-shot hit scan, which Jimmy is clearly, that's his forte as a player, I don't think his Sombra is quite as good as his Widow or Ashe, for example. And for point B, they were on the Sombra that entire time, so aside from the very end. So I also think there's a bit of a difference there because, Jimmy had great impact on point A, not as much on point B, and, that little bit of a difference, really all it takes.
Certainly did make a difference. Seoul Dynasty on the attack right now. Still definitely a winnable map for the Chengdu Hunters. You do see point A stops on Gibraltar. It's definitely not unheard of.
It's going to require a shutdown performance from basically every player, as well as Nisha getting good resurrection stuff. All right, focus fire on the Marvel. That's step one.
Yep. I will say that they've done a good job of denying Marvel some of that easy ult charge that Winstons are able to get sometimes. They've been very ready to just immediately focus fire him.
Yeah.
Animo down as well.
Jimmy also the X factor here, where Widow can be very shut down, but he's going to have immense pressure heading his way. So how many shots can Jimmy hit over the next 3 minutes as the Hunters look for this first point hold, which is their best way back into the series. They don't want this to go to point B.
Seoul Dynasty taking a long time to set this one up. Really making sure all the cooldowns are available. We're going to see how they use the bubbles. They're letting Profit start to sow a little bit of chaos in the back line. That's going to be the go button. That said, Jimmy does find the pick on the Fitz. And the Hunters really needed that. Yep, there's Marvel falling as well.
Yeah, so Profit is all over Jimmy, and Jimmy just ice cold bounces up the other way, finds Fitz, and now we got the clone over here. Creative falling immediately. Nisha gets caught, but Leave finding the way through. Graviton comes in. The cleanup is there. And the Hunters almost halfway to their goal, Doa.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a good amount of ults, too, after that. Both support ultimates. The Widowmaker to kind of see where Seoul's coming at them from. They've got the Primal Rage as well. Seoul Dynasty, if they rush, They might be able to get there before the Mercy gets back, but that's looking less and less likely. Prophet 9 HP, able to recall, still takes more damage. Great right click from Leave as well. Prophet certainly struggling a little bit against this damage, do a little bit more than he did early in the series. Bob goes in, pretty deep, gets sleeped immediately though, I believe.
Well, the trade's also awful for Tracer, the head to the back here. There's so many ways to play Elevation, and already the Focus Fire comes in. You see the Zarya going down immediately. Prophet finally gets Jimmy, but look at how long it took Prophet to go over and in. The Resurrection still comes out, which means if Prophet jumped down, you'd have to go all the way back once more. His time's getting wasted, and a minute 3 left to go. Prophet, though, able to find Monk. Leave, trying to bring it back. Jimmy finds Prophet again! And the Hunters, they're looking good, Doa.
The Hunters are looking really good, ZP. They've just got to last for one more minute, and they can get a map on the board.
Mobility increased.
And we'll see. Fits over to the Sombra. Okay.
It's not for EMP. It's literally to go after Jimmy and free up Prophet to do literally anything else. Because Tracer chasing down the Widow, it's not a fun experience on this map, though. That's why you've seen Prophet he's been spending most of his time in travel. But now the Dynasty looking to dive over. Marvel, nowhere close to a Primal, so has to be judicious on his approach. The rally is out, so this is where Dynasty, they really do have to go in. Meanwhile, Elsa drops the grab in the back, gets the Ana, pays the price on Prophet, though, gets Jimmy and Monk. Prophet making the most out of the distraction, and you can only contain him for so long, Doa, as the Dynasty finally break through here at point A.
I mean, at the end of the day, Prophet, and he's going to probably stick a pulse bomb in that doorway here. No, maybe not, doesn't get the opportunity to. Fitz goes down. This is getting a little bit tight, actually. Point A, not a given for Seoul Dynasty. Despite the Euro plays, and Prophet down with his ultimate available. Tragic for Seoul. This might be where it ends.
Yeah, I mean, they lost 2 at the end when they had an overwhelming advantage, and now Leave in over the top. Marvel not going to have Primal here. 3 seconds left to go. Who's got to touch a payload? Who's over and in? Nope, Fitz was able to get there. Just barely. Right, Fitz got there. Overtime ticks down. Soul gets back over. It's Prophet. Oh, Prophet dies before getting the pulse bomb out. Prophet no longer a factor in the fight. Jimmy over, finds Marvel. And now Soul down to their final 4. How on earth are they going to bring this back? The dive, and you see the Hunters still at a full 6. Leave, finding 2U on the side. It's Leave and Jimmy, Doa. And we are not done yet. It's not 3-0. The curse is broken.
The curse is broken, but we should have known these teams always go to game number 5, and the Hunters giving themselves a chance at the reverse sweep, but they do need to get that reverse sweep, and that is never going to be easy. They weren't able to do it last time. They came close, couldn't quite seal the deal, but we'll see if Seoul Dynasty has something more for them in map 4. But ZP, one thing's for sure. This version of Hunters are certainly looking a little bit better. We'll see if they can keep that momentum going when we come back.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Doa and ZP here, and the Chengdu Hunters have a new lease on life after some roster swapping, some team fight winning, some Gibraltar conquering. Back in the series, ZP, Jimmy made a huge impact in that game, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. I mean, look, Jimmy is shut down when it comes to single-shot hit scan. And also, he gave Prophet the cardio workout of his life on Gibraltar, where if you're playing Widow, you're playing a game of cat and mouse where you're constantly trying to get away from the Tracer. But because of the elevation on Gibraltar, on point A, Jimmy was able to just keep Prophet running for most of it. So even when Prophet wasn't dead, he might as well have been dead, Doa, because he was spending so much time in transit trying to go after Jimmy. So Jimmy was the Prophet control. It changed the entire flow of the game. It's why the Hunters do not get swept here and now have a real shot of going for the reverse sweep.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what the first two maps would have looked like. I mean, obviously, Taro Cookie needs some game time. They need to give him some experience on the stage, as it were. And, you know, it's rough, too. It's rough coming in, especially when you're going up against a DPS duo like Fitz and Prophet. So, you know, Taro Cookie, I'm sure it's not the last we've seen of him. Rough start, but what else do you expect? You know, it's tough to kind of break in, right? Jimmy, though, it's a good thing they had him around because now they're back in the series. Remember, like we said before, the last two times these teams met, it went to game number 5. The last time they met specifically, it was Seoul Dynasty up 2-0 before the Hunters came back. 1-2 maps. They didn't end up winning the series. Seoul took that one, but there's kind of this precedent, ZP, for, you know, this to be a close match, despite us casting it.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we're going to reverse course. We're actually going to take all the close matches from here on out. You know, we were joking with our talent manager before the night started, going,
for the record.
Yeah.
That'd be fine with me.
Same. Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun if we get to say hello to our talent manager after they've went to sleep earlier in the night and now have woken up going, oh, you guys are still casting, huh? Oh, that's cool.
Pretty much. All night.
Yep.
That's right. We're here all night. Which is fine, you know, because the more Overwatch, the merrier. That's what I say, right? I just hope my neighbors don't mind. We're still, you know, we're still living in this this kind of pandemic world, still casting from home. I get a little bit worried. Sometimes it's like you're like whisper shouting, you know, where it's like there's a moment that I really want to get excited about, but I'm like afraid of like the police knocking on my door. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that map. But you know, it is what it is.
I think you need to treat people to. You need to treat people to waking up early on a Saturday. That's right. You're being health conscious right now, saying it's not healthy to sleep in on the weekend, even though it very well might be. Just take your own form of it. Wake them up.
I'm sure this is how it's going to go down. Like, they're going to, you know, the police are going to come. They're going to get angry about me yelling in my apartment complex, right? And be like, it's just the Overwatch League. You've seen the Overwatch League, right? And they're like, no, we haven't seen the Overwatch League. What's it like? And I'm like, oh, it's this amazing, like, a battle between, like, this futuristic people in this positive world. The world could always use more heroes. And they're like, oh, my gosh, I'm a big fan now. And that's progress. That's progress for esports. So maybe I should yell louder, ZP. Maybe I'm not yelling loud enough. The world hasn't heard me yet.
Also, I would describe it more in the way as like, so you've seen Terminator, right? Imagine Terminator if Skynet was incompetent. If Skynet was incompetent and let the humans fight back, bam, you're there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure. That works too. Yeah, well, as you can see, no roster swaps for the Chengdu Hunters. No big surprise there, as Nisha and Jimmy seem to be what the doctor ordered. Or the veterinarian ordered, I guess, because they are pandas technically. It's their mascot. But it worked at the end of the day. And so the question is, can the Hunters continue winning? We're going to go to Hanamura for our next map. And like you mentioned earlier, Prophet's Tracer was much more easily contained on that last map. That's not going to be the case on a map like Hanamura. They're going to need to come with something different. And that's going to really be the test, you know, where Prophet does have a little bit more room to maneuver, a little bit more ability to flank. You know, is Jimmy going to be able to control him as well as he could on Gibraltar? Yeah,
I mean, I think Jimmy will get his shots in, but it won't be as troublesome for Prophet. It'll be easier for Seoul to dive in. Now we're on Hanamura, and I expect Jimmy to come out. Yeah, I was going to say Ashe or McCree. The Ashe makes a little bit more sense with Jimmy's preferences. McCree also would have been fine. The Pharah, I was going to say, that doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't. Now Leave's going to go to the Tracer. That makes far more sense. Yeah. And, you know, it is interesting looking at the two styles on paper. Now, Seoul could still change it up, but it's going to be the Hunters, you know, being more dive-oriented and, you know, the Dynasty playing something slower where given the Dynasty's inclination to be more aggro, it's a little bit interesting, but we'll see how long the Dynasty stick with this.
Right. Right now, Nisha just trying to get a glimpse of what the enemy team has to offer. It looks like Leave is in a little bit better position for that. As the gates open and the Seoul Dynasty go on the attack, trying to end it, trying to finish this off here on Hanamura, and we do see this Symmetra engage like we have seen from time to time. Oh, denied though. Nope, they do get up there. I thought maybe for a second the TP was going to be denied, but they're in, ZB.
Yep, the Dynasty already on the point. This is where running the Rhine really pays dividends.
Big.
Oh, Nisha just catches a fire strike to the grill, immediately taken out. Your Briggs out of the fight. There's not a whole lot of ways that the Hunters can actually come in and recontest this here. They're going to try, but the Rhine commands a lot of space here, Doa. If Gaga gone, so are the Hunters' chances of taking point A, or taking point A back.
For whom does the bell toll? It tolls for thee, Nisha. The swap over to the Zenyatta now. An easy point A take for Seoul Dynasty. Over 6 minutes remaining to take B.
That's a lot of time, Doa. It's a whole lot of time. And also you take a look at the ult situation coming up. Window and Graviton coming in from Sigma soon. So we'll see where this goes. And now it's going to be a teleport. A little bit sneaky to the back.
Oh, the reverse.
Chuyu gets Monk immediately. Getting the Ana down is huge. That is a very worthy trade for the Dynasty.
Fitz does drop though. Oh,
Gaga
in big trouble, Gaga.
That was so
That's
good
one.
from Gaga. The isolate shot to the BAP will win the Hunters this fight. Fearless.
So Seoul Dynasty add a couple kills to the board, but what you really need is to add some percentage to the meter there, and they didn't quite get that. So it is going to be the reset from 2U and Seoul Dynasty back to spawn. So first attack has been stymied by the Chengdu Hunters. But they need more.
Going
need a lot
for
more.
the next fight.
Yeah.
We're going to have Flux, Shatter, Blizzard all on deck. If it doesn't work out, probably going to swap. But this is still a good fight coming up for the Dynasty, Doa. And, really,
Yeah.
I would look to you on the setup.
So many ults, actually, are going to be available for the Seoul Dynasty. Basically everything. But the Baptiste window. Everything but the Ant Matrix. They're going to try the same play, it looks like. Yep. He's got the shield now to keep them a little bit safer. Gets the teleporter up. They're going to drop down from on high.
Flux comes in first.
Nice engage. I like the idea behind this. Oh, they get Jimmy and Monk already.
Yeah, it's so well executed. The Flux, the Blizzard just zone everyone out. The people that come in to touch a point get immediately whapped.
Oh.
And now the Shatter down from Marvel. 4 minutes, 15 seconds remaining, and this is all but over here, Doa. The Hunters just get wiped out on point. Now looking for a miracle here in the stall.
I mean, Fitz is putting on a clinic with the Symmetra. Even this TP right now, allowing them to go back and forth from the high ground to the low ground, rotate out, get some healing done. Really nice. That said, the Hunters striking back with a vengeance here. Marvel low, Jimmy gets 2.
Ultimately, that shouldn't be happening.
Being subbed in here. Yeah, that's right. So it's going to be 2 ticks, but that's all for Seoul on this push.
Let's review, just rewind a moment here, Doa.
Wow.
The Dynasty had everyone up. They were taking down stragglers, and somehow they let Jimmy come out with Gaga and take down a few key pickoffs and turn that around. That is just unconscionable from the Dynasty. That should have been a one fight. It wasn't, and it very well might come back to haunt them.
Now, Seoul Dynasty is looking like they're going to go for the same exact setup. Now, you would expect them to just stick to the high ground, but every time they've done this, they've rotated around and gone down the middle. Looks like this time they are going to commit to the high ground. He's got the Symmetra ultimate. They're going to probably go over the TP. Yeah, that's right, TPing to the other side. I love the way the double shield lets them engage with this safely with the Symmetra, but they got to win the fight now. They do have the Blizzard for profit. That might be enough. They only need 1 tick, CP. 2 kills.
The risk there was Blizzard being eaten. It didn't happen. Profit getting the last finish here. Can Jimmy be the hero again? Probably not now. Not with the ride in your face. That is the one thing you don't come back from as a McCree.
Here's Reinhardt. I love it. There's 2 points on the board for Seoul Dynasty. A lot of time left in the time bank. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. But that was just a great use of Symmetra. I mean, I know we see teams playing around with the Symmetra engages quite a bit here in 2021, but that was some of the best, I think, Symmetra team play that I've seen yet. Just again, using the double shields from the Sigma and the Reinhardt to set up these safe teleport engages to a lot of really difficult to deal with places. High grounds going across behind the point. It seemed like, and Seoul Dynasty just kept doing it. It just seemed like at the end of the day, the Hunters just seemed unprepared to face that.
Well, the secret sauce there, too, was the Blizzard. So, you know, if you're the Hunters, you just got stuck in this awful situation where it's like, okay, Symmetra shield is up for a while, so you can dance around that if you're not in melee range. Like, you can't really fight at long range. But if you go in close range, there's a Blizzard down on the point. It was a really smart engagement strategy that, you know, is it possible for the Hunters to still contest that? Yes, but they have to be absolutely perfect in their response. It's prone to errors, and you know, the Dynasty immediately capitalized.
So, similar comp, not using the Symmetra, obviously this time the McCree May, very popular in the first stage, way back when in the May Melee. Looks like we're moving back to that. It was a tried and true comp then. And Seoul Dynasty is going to try to put to work here. A little bit of a quick engage to leave, just using the teleporter to get there a little bit faster, but he's going to need to be trying to find those flanks as a little bit of a slow engage for Hunters. Really kind of feeling this one out here.
Yeah, as well as they should, given the fact that there's a Mei on the other side. It feels like it doesn't matter what the meta is, so long as Mei is playable, Mei can be very, very good here on point A Hanamura. You gotta respect the wall at the choke point, especially when you're running something as immobile as the Hunters are right now.
I mean, you talk about the tale as old as time. Teams getting split by the Mei wall going into Hanamura A is one of the earliest things we ever saw in Overwatch. That's for sure.
At least as soon as Mei got added. There was a point in early beta where Mei wasn't even in the game. Some referred to it as a golden age, but you know, that's not the era we live in anymore, Doa. Mei is here, dropping walls on main. Marvel, though, gets caught immediately. And winning without a Reinhardt, pretty difficult if you don't get a counter pick immediately. And the freeze comes out on the front line, but is Falter going to be there? Gaga and Elsa getting low, but healed up all the while. Prophet's getting a lot of Mei value here, but the fall-through just isn't there with the Rhine out of the fight.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a point A take unless Marvel can get back in a hurry here, but they've just lost so many people. Fitz and Prophet down there. It goes everybody else. So it will be a fairly rapid point A take. Not quite as fast as Seoul was able to do it, but Hunters are still going to be pretty happy with the amount of time they have on the time bank going into B.
And now you take a look at Seoul. I don't think they're going to be changing anything up here. Just saying, Leaf's just looking for freebies here, and that nearly hit.
Nearly got one.
Yeah, I mean, you got a body shot Prophet, just barely missed
That's a really tricky angle. Oh my goodness. And you got to be careful here.
Yeah, that's why.
I guess Leaf has to be careful too. I mean, because that was a hit from Fitz then. Yeah.
TU just goes, you know what? I'm going to dive this guy. I've had it. It's enough.
Yep. 100%.
So
good ultimates available for Seoul Dynasty. They've got the Blizzard. They've got the Earth Shatter. They've got the tools to delay a little bit.
The Flux, though, going to be a problem. As in, under focus fire. Marvel, though, dropped the Shatter through the wall. Doesn't really get too much. Has to back it just a bit. But Elsa had the fight early.
Ooh.
Yeah, Leaf coming in from the corner.
Yep,
the problem is they lost to Sigma early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leaf does drop.
We know what 2U's job is. Just mercilessly stalk Leaf, regardless of what else is going on in the fight. And all in all, this is back and forth to the degree that that's just gratuitous. They have the fight already won.
Yeah. Called on mech kill onto Gaga to close that one out. Seoul Dynasty don't give up a single tick. 4 minutes, though, still remain for the Hunters. Leave. Ooh, he swapped to the Soldier 76 for a moment, but then over to the Mei.
Yeah, I think he got tired of getting dove on by 2U over and over again, because that was just going to keep happening. It wasn't going to stop.
I think the Soldier could be okay here. I don't mind it. I think he's still one of the most underappreciated heroes in the game. We did see him a little bit in the June Joust, but Mei certainly a premium hero right now, for sure.
Yeah, the problem for Leave is Leave's not going to have the setup that Prophet had with the Symmetron. Oh, speaking of setups.
All right, then.
The Hunters just get thrown into the freezer. A really nice setup and engage from Prophet with the Blizzard, and yep, that was over before it began.
Yep, they got put in the Slurpee machine, man. That was an ice blender.
Hey. Got left with brain freeze at the end of it. We can go on.
Yep.
It's fine.
That's
I haven't
right.
had a Slurpee in a long time, or any form of the flavor of ice drink.
Yeah,
Might
we don't want to be
be
biased towards any particular one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fits with the Dragon Strike. So that's a good ult for this particular point because there's a lot of narrow corridors you need to walk down if you're the attacking team. You can get into some pretty rough situations if the Hanzo's able to time it well and doesn't get eaten by the D.Va. And there is no D.Va on the other side. Here we go. Dragon Strike coming through, just like we talked about. They're able to avoid it. That angle a little bit easier to dodge, but Leave not dodging that arrow.
Yeah, Leaf getting a taste of his own medicine there. He was looking for the pickoffs on the Mei earlier as Hangzhou. Now gets picked off as Mei from a Hangzhou. Revenge is a dish best served hot cold. In that case, is Tuyu continuing the fine flanks here, Doa. The D.Va play from Tuyu really good here on Hanamura.
Yeah, Tuyu's done a great job of being sort of the executioner in a lot of these fights, identifying the vulnerable targets and then going after them with the charge, and that's been working out really well. He's playing an effective D.Va for sure.
So a minute 50 left for the Hunters as they found themselves stalled out, and Jimmy gets caught.
Wow,
Fitz
you can't
with
have
the
that
arrow. Yeah, and they're not playing Mercy anymore, Noah, so there's no freebie, there's no comeback. And this basically puts the Hunters on final fight. Why is this happening? Oh.
I mean, this is just what I was talking about earlier with the Dragon Strike.
They get another!
Wow. This is pretty devastating for the Hunters. Now, that said, the Hunters do have 5 out of 6 ultimates available, but it looks like the Seoul Dynasty may have 6 out of 6 in the near future. And it's like what I was talking about. There's a lot of narrow chokes to go through on Hanamura. And if you're not careful, you're going to take losses going through there. And then you need to reset, and then you need to go through the same choke again. It doesn't get any easier. You got to be so careful coming through this.
No, you really do. And I mean, for the Hunters, yeah, basically they need to get a pick off before the pressure on the choke begins, if at all possible, because Dynasty have been so good defending. Now they're going to throw on Bob, hoping for a little bit of chaos. Flux comes in, they get Marvel, that's huge! The Flux initiation, exactly what the Hunters needed, Daw. Now they can head over onto the point, and it's a Dynasty that are going to be stuck looking for a miracle. They do have ultimates on deck, they have some progress to give. This is still vaguely winnable for the Dynasty, but everything has to go right, starting with Marvel. Take a look at him. He's holding on to the Shatter, he's looking, he walks for it, he gets Gaga, Fitz gets Nisha in the back. But the Dynasty, they still need a lot more here, but the Blizzard comes out. Again, there's enough chaos here that they can potentially do it. But Jimmy has to be contained.
Mei trying to duck, dodge, and dive, but not able to get out of it in the end. That said, the respawns definitely favoring the Seoul Dynasty, and it's going to be time over for the Hunters right now. They're going to need to do it in OT. Monk down. Oh, there's a stun. I think Seoul Dynasty, they may have it, CP.
They just about have it, and again, the Ultimates and Reserve really saved them off the respawns. They got just enough. Fitz being huge here on this map. Overtime ticks down, and Doa, that is going to be it. The Dynasty finish it off 3-0.
Yep, that's right. Seoul Dynasty do get the 3-1 victory in the end. It's well, because I know how it is. We're used to saying 3-0. I can't blame you there. It's been a trend for us, but yeah, the Seoul Dynasty do win it. 3-1. The Hunters definitely making them work for it, but in the end, Seoul Dynasty definitely looking like the better team today. And it was really it was the DPS show, honestly. I mean, Marvel had some good plays. I think Tuyu had his moments as well, but to me, it was Prophet and Fitz. Making the picks, getting the right flanks at the right time that really kind of made it difficult for Hunters to kind of execute their game plan.
Yeah, and the Hunters swapping at Jimmy was huge, especially giving them their map back on Gibraltar.
Right,
but yeah, it just Hanamura, things got stalled out, and they were very close at points, but in the end, not close enough. And 3-1 for the Dynasty. Not quite the 3-2 I thought it might have been coming in, despite the 3-0 curse, to where it falls through into my brain at the very end. I was like, 3-0. It's like, but no, it's not. It's 3-1. But yeah, overall, still a fun series, though.
Yep, that's right. Let's talk about our player of the match. It's going to be Prophet. I think, like I said, there were a lot of really good moments from pretty much everybody on the Seoul Dynasty tonight, but Prophet and Fitz together really were the ones who sort of sealed the deal in a lot of these cases. Prophet specifically, I mean, Prophet and 4Ks to win maps, name a more iconic duo, right? Like, this guy's back again, doing it way back on Ilios. It seems so long ago now, but he has been just like a joy to watch all day.
Yeah, he really has. And Prophet, what more can you say? There's so few players in the league that have been around since season 1, consistently putting out good performances, and Prophet is in that elite tier of players that, not just in the league from season 1, but the very best of the best into this 4th year of play. So honestly, Prophet continuing to impress, and it's why Seoul, you can never sleep on him regardless of the meta, whatever the record is. If Prophet is playing, you got a chance to win.
Yeah, pretty impressive eliminations and final blows as well. I mean, you look at across 4 maps, he stuck 8 people, right? I mean, that's like 2 per map. That's pretty strong, honestly. I think a lot of people would struggle to keep up with that. And he's, again, one of the OG players in the league right now, one of the best and a big threat on the Seoul Dynasty. And you know what, ZP? I think I was okay with that match. We didn't get the 3-0.
Yep.
The curse has been broken, but we're not done yet. We've got another series coming up soon. We're going to take a quick break before that happens, but do not go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, the Overwatch League will return right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. Doa and ZP here. Before we go to that next match, we have a little bit more to look at from Seoul Dynasty versus the Chengdu Hunters. It's time for a game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. ZP, there's only one moment in the series I think that stands out for crunch time. It's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to be that final fight on Hollywood where arguably both teams are crunching. Of course, one team, came out on top in the Seoul Dynasty, but that was a crazy fight, though. It just went back and forth for ages. Both leave and profit like prize fighters, exchanging haymakers, back and forth in a fight that just seemingly would not end. It was the pivotal moment of the series, if you discount the C9 a little bit earlier from the Chengdu Hunters, where, you think about it, if the Hunters win that fight, still sub in Jimmy a little bit later, who knows what would have happened in the series, but that's not the reality we live in, Doa. The Dynasty took the fight over in the end and ended up taking the series 3-1.
This fight just goes on and on and on, right? We've made edits within this fight because it's so long, just showing it from a couple different views too, but during that, a couple things stand out. Obviously, Profit's huge, right? He's making a lot of good plays. Creative, though, on the Moira, able to build an entire ultimate during this. Remember, the Moira ult charge got longer than it was before, too. So this was a lot of work put in by Creative. You also have Fitz on the Soldier 76, which is a great choice for this because you can put healing right down the payload, and that rocket does a lot of good like AoE damage as well. So I think some really intelligent hero swaps right at the end from Seoul Dynasty that helped kind of lock this one in. But man, this was one of the closest fights I've seen in a long time, ZP.
Yeah, it was really nice just to see the back and forth between the two teams. And look, I mean, that was something where there was multiple times I was like, oh, okay, clearly this team is going to win. And then suddenly an immense play comes out. Probably the most immense play in the entire sequence was Prophet dying, like gets meleeed down, left the pulse bomb, and took out both supports with the pulse bomb at the very end, where it just sort of, well, you got me, but it came at a cost type of deal. So really cool fight. And, again, a little bit disappointing for the Hunters, given the fact that they basically, could have just won that particular defense before that fight began. But, hey, it happens and still made for some exciting Overwatch.
Yep, that's right. So pretty exciting moments from our 3-1 Seoul Dynasty taking out the Chengdu Hunters. That actually pushes Chengdu Hunters, I believe, into a losing record overall for the season. I think they're 4-5 now, so definitely looking to pick things up in the coming weeks. But Seoul Dynasty seems to be gaining strength as the season goes on. We'll leave those two teams there, though, ZP. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, it's going to be Guangzhou Charge taking on NYXL. Should be a great series, so don't go anywhere. The Overwatch League returns right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.
Yep.
Just needed something warm to drink.
Ivy spots Nano Boost, always coming out, finally.
Oh, yep, with the Nano Boost, it's going to be Ivy, though, tearing his way through, finding 3, and what a statement. Riv is slowly getting up with that Nano Boost. Oh, but he gets put to sleep. He got put to sleep, but Riv is about to get the Nano Boost. He can try to do something. He still finds 3. He gets the 3K. How did he get woken up?
Jonak, unlucky. They're going to be able to touch as well. Choice of 1's got the blade. He instantly goes down. Guangzhou coming alive. Karim and Choice of 1 dead. This should just be... Oh my word. Mike Haley, don't know where his head's gone.
So much damage from that flux. Here comes Mike Haley, though, and cleaning up around Jonak and make it 2. What a flex. Sit down, Guangzhou. You're out of this fight.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. Doa and ZP here with you, coming at you with our second series of the night. It's going to be the Guangzhou Charge versus the NYXL. And this is going to be an interesting one, right? Because Charge is kind of looking to pick up a bit more momentum. And NYXL, we've seen moments of like extreme brilliance, I think, from the team this season, but they feel inconsistent to me. I feel like there's a higher ceiling to what they're able to do, and they just haven't been able to reach it yet. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think NYXL has been the classic case of a team that just gets better and better over the course of the season. I think it'd be inaccurate to say, like, hey, this is one of the very top teams in the league, because obviously they aren't, but they still made it to knockouts, or not knockouts, but they still made it to the actual tournament in the last stage of the June Joust, and they've looked better as the season has gone on, and now we'll see if that improvement carries on into a meta where all heroes are available. But, you know, I'm pretty high up on this New York team. I think that they have potential, and we'll see exactly where it goes, but certainly between them and the Charge, where the Charge, you know, have been sort of inconsistent to the lower end of the spectrum this season. On face value, I'd say that this should be New York coming in with like a 3-1, but you know how our predictions go in Apex, so maybe that means the Charge are about to sweep it. Who knows, Noah?
We'll find out. Hopefully you guys at home got your pick'ems in at pick'em.overwatchleague.com before the series began. Is that who cares? I'm a caster. I can invent words. I got my pick'ems in. I've been right 100% so far today. Didn't necessarily get the map score right, but I got the winners correct so far, ZP, for all of our series. So all I need is this one to go my way to finish out the day on top. Not that I'm going to be biased, but you know, it's just fun to be right once in a while, right? Who did you pick? Who'd you pick, ZP, for this one?
In this matchup, I picked. I picked New York in this match. I picked Seoul in the previous match, and I thought that Valiant would continue to go undefeated and beat the Spark. No, the other way around. Spark would crush the Valiant. That was my pick.
Right. Well, it sounds like we're on the same page with that. Let's check out one of the players from the Charge trying to make a difference going into this next series. It is going to be Choi Se-wan. And this is a player that, you know, we've seen be a little bit up and down, but he does have a lot of success on the Tracer, at least when it comes to staying alive and getting those pulse bombs on the enemy, right? And we saw ZP in our last series, what a big impact a strong Tracer player can make. And I mean, that's been true throughout the history